Welcome everybody. My name is Michael or Kubera, and today is the day that the handoff for Kubera is happening. That's going to be in a few hours. So if you haven't yet subscribed to the new channel, come on over there. The links are in the description below. We're going to be uploading daily content on there, and starting within the next few days, we're going to have scheduled content for Kubera. I'm only going to be uploading once per week. You're going to see some new hosts, but we've already made videos about that. So let's discuss about Bitcoin today and Jim Cramer. So Bitcoin is currently at 32,000, almost $400, and its low was 31,100 and its high of $33,811.85. That was almost 12 hours ago. So right now it is kind of recovering. We're at 950 billion, so a little bit underneath $1 trillion. Bitcoin's dominance has fallen to 63.8%, but Ethereum is doing really well. It's at 1253. It's up overall for the week for the past 24 hours. Polkadot is doing fantastic. It's up almost 8%, and over the past 7 days, 17.6%. Cardano's doing great as well. Chainlink has moved up. It's actually number 7th. So let us discuss about Jim Cramer. What would you do if you won the lottery? Let's roll the intro. Jim Cramer is from Mad Money. You've probably seen him discussing stocks. So Jim Cramer was always open to the idea of cryptocurrency, but before that, he was always open to crazy companies. Now, as with any stockbroker, as with any investor, some of his stock picks weren't the best, but overall, he's been just a fine host. Jim Cramer is actually a very wealthy individual. Got a net worth of over $100 million, and his birthday's coming up very soon. February 10th, he's going to be 66 years old. So he's also an author and the co-founder of TheStreet.com. Just out of curiosity, let's see how many subscribers on YouTube he has. Wow, okay, that redirected. That was so random. Okay, I have no idea why that redirected us to some random Japanese. I guess the URL was wrong, but he has 1.4 million followers on Twitter. Back in December 13th, he actually purchased Bitcoin himself. So if he's got $100 million, if he invested 5% into BTC, maybe he bought a few $1,000,000 worth of Bitcoin. If he's telling somebody, hey, you put 5%, either he's putting in himself or at least he's buying 1%, 2%. So he's probably buying at least hundreds of thousands of dollars, because we'll go into why exactly, not the full sum up front. Jim Cramer told The Street that this morning he had bought some Bitcoin and said that it has to do with him thinking about it as an asset, and with assets, think gold, it's good to have a variety. So he's a traditional institutional investor. He prefers stocks. He wants to be diversified, and that's all right. He's made a fair amount of money. His main business is with stocks, and that's always the competing interests that you have to realize. People who have hundreds of millions of dollars or millions or even 90% of their portfolio in stocks, if they diversify into Bitcoin, that means they're open to the idea, and maybe in the future they're going to have more of that in cryptocurrency as they make more money, as they believe it more, as they realize the potential of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. But most of their money will always be in stocks unless they do a very rare flip, because their entire business, their entire life over the past few decades revolved around stocks. So it's very, very hard to suddenly just up and change all of that. So a winner in Maryland has won $731 million Powerball jackpot. Now, that means that immediately a few $100 million is going away in taxes, because they immediately cash that out for the government. So honestly, he's probably going to have like $300 or $400 million. Lottery winners get really affected by taxes straight up, especially such big winnings. But still, it's always a few $100 million. So it's not 5% of 731 million, most likely. Could be wrong, but that's just how it is. It's probably 5% of anywhere from 50 to 70% of the 731 million, which is still tens of millions of dollars. It's not bad at all. You know what? If you won the lottery, yes, I'm going to say it, 5% in Bitcoin, said Cramer on Mad Money. His investment advice, of course, came with a few caveats. Don't buy the Bitcoin all at once. Don't buy it on the weekend. And crypto could be incredibly volatile. And the day that he said that, Bitcoin itself dropped 13%. And this is normal for the cryptocurrency environment. But when you compare it to stocks, besides the outliers such as Tesla or BB or Moderna or any of those crazy stocks. The average investor is not used to a few 100% gains or movements within a year. It's usually they're looking at that on a 10-year scale, right? Cramer identified Bitcoin as an important new store of value, and his words echoed the philosophy by Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor has purchased over $1 billion thanks to MicroStrategy, and MicroStrategy also inspired other institutional investors such as Grayscale, which we're going to have a video about that tomorrow. And before you know it, billions of dollars flew into Bitcoin. Cramer, who owns Bitcoin, is not exactly a Saylor-like disciple of the cryptocurrency because he's not as passionate about it and he doesn't have most of his portfolio. He's got a little bit, but he's got something, right? Saylor has called Bitcoin humanity's ideal value storage mechanism. Cramer has expressed concerns over market anonymity, and he's treating Bitcoin just like gold or real estate or something like that. It's tailored for a super rich investor in a world where hyperinflation reigns. If you're already rich, you have to worry about inflation the same way Superman worries about kryptonite, because it's the only thing that can really wipe you out. And given the way we're spending like drunken sailors in this country, it may be an issue. So what does Cramer mean when you can't buy Bitcoin all at once? If you're buying tens of millions of dollars of Bitcoin, even though it's not as large position as MicroStrategy or Grayscale or Guggenheim or even a billionaire who just suddenly wants to get into Bitcoin, even the big boys know that you have to purchase in waves. Because if you just go straight to an exchange, obviously there's limits, so you have to go a different route. But even if you go that different route, the market will see that suddenly someone is purchasing millions and millions of dollars of Bitcoin, and you can't do it in a single order because the market will react to that. If you're doing it in multiple very large orders, the first order might go through, or your very large order, parts of it may go through. The market will see, hey, someone's trying to purchase Bitcoin, and before you know it, it starts rising in price. If this was a smaller trade, but still worth millions of dollars, and it would be viewed as a whale for a smaller, let's say top 50 or top 100 altcoin, people could lose 5, 10, even 15%, maybe 20% of their profits just like that, potential profits, because the price moves up even within a few minutes. I've seen that before where some whales, people who just have a lot of money, but maybe they're new to investing, maybe they're new to cryptocurrency, or maybe it's just FOMO, fear of missing out. They want it so bad that they're okay losing those few percent because the sellers of Bitcoin see, all right, there's a huge whale that's trying to purchase a big amount of this Bitcoin or this altcoin that I'm selling or whatever it is. And they're going to raise the price because they know that, all right, a few sellers before me will be able to sell to that individual, but he still has a huge order that needs to be filled. They raise the price, they're happy, but the buyer, hey, you're losing money just like that. So you can wait. And also there's another aspect to it. Obviously, most investors are going to realize that, but if you buy it in chunks every week, the price might change, as you saw. It was at 40,000, then it went down all the way to 29,800. Those are huge varying differences. However, you're able to save money if you get on the dip. It's easier to buy the dip if you have millions of dollars and you're going on a week-to-week basis and it takes you a few months to actually get fully invested into it. Probably Jim Cramer would also advise to the average Powerball lottery winner to invest money into the stock market, of course, even with compound interest 5%, 6%, which is very humble and modest compared to 7, 8, 9% that people are getting on average over 10, 20, 30 years mutual or index funds. Because not only do you have to worry about inflation, you also have to worry about taxes, and of course these taxes are going to be paid with, but what about capital gains? And then you also have to think about other stuff. So a lot of Powerball lottery winners don't really think about that. They start buying a lot of property. They start giving out money to family, to friends who are suddenly coming out of the woodwork. They're starting to lose money. And most lottery winners actually are miserable because they lose most of their money within a few years. So it's best to invest a little bit into Bitcoin, invest a little bit into maybe some other cryptocurrencies that you're interested in. Maybe this person has no idea about cryptocurrency and maybe it's going to be their first time looking into it. But hey, you suddenly won a large chunk of money. If you're smart, going to invest some of that into real estate, some of that into cryptocurrency, some of that into the stock market, because you're able to do a lot with that. So probably even if it's just 5%, that's still tens of millions of dollars. You could also invest tens of millions of dollars over the next few years because it's going to take a while to do research, but get real estate properties that you're able to rent out. Don't care about flipping because then you're able to just buy entire apartment buildings, or you're able to invest in pretty much anything you want. You have hundreds of millions of dollars, right? As long as it's not stupid, but you can invest into SPACs or IPOs or go go to Silicon Valley and start your own VC or whatever. I mean, there's so many opportunities that even if you go a few million here, a few million there, even if some of these investments go really bad, as long as you're not dumb about it, as long as you're doing your research, you're still going to be in a better position than someone who just goes out and spends it all, right? Because then you're not going to have anything unless you're forced to start selling these things for 10% of their value. So it's unfortunate, but a lot of lottery winners do lose their money. Hopefully this individual invests it, hopefully with compound interest thanks to cryptocurrency or investing into a mutual index fund. They're able to turn this. They technically would be able to turn this few $100 million, even if it's $200 or $300 million. They can become a billionaire, but probably they're going to need a tax advisor, probably going to need a financial advisor, and they're also going to have to look out behind their back. No, I'm serious. I mean, you never know. So maybe they have some really greedy family members. Also in the news recently, there was a winning of $1.2 million, I believe. So after taxes, it wasn't that much, but still it was a few $100,000. Because it was divided in two. So a few $100,000 for one side, a few $100,000 for the other side, because there was two lottery winners from the same family. So I think this aunt wrote down one of her nephews and they collected it together. And it was 600,000. But they had to spend money on lawyers, and the aunt said, sure, I put his name down, but he wasn't supposed to collect the money. So she actually was able to win half of his money. He still got a few $100,000, which is always good. But of course, there's lawyer fees, and I don't know. I'm sure that there's a rift in that family. They're never going to be talking again. I surely wouldn't. But you never know what lottery winnings and money can do. It's the greed. It changes you. So that is that. That's for today's video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share, and check out my new channel. The other videos that will be posted will be scheduled, so I will no longer have access to this channel in the next few hours. And hopefully, if we're able to, we're still going to do a final live stream. So thanks for joining us in today's video. See you guys in the next one, and I'll still be here, so don't worry. Bye.